Hey guys, welcome back to PristineZReads. So first off, I want to apologize for not uploading last weekend because I was away, so I didn't have any content prepared in advance, which should teach me a lesson. The book I'm reviewing today is The Prophet, the Shepherd, and the Star by Jenny L. Coates. And this is the first book in the Epic Order of the Seven series. But it's a continuation of the Amazing Tales of Max and Liz series, which was, the Ark, the Reed, and the Fire Cloud, and the Dreamer, the Schemer, and the Rogue. But yeah, let's get into it again. So, starting out with the non-spoiler summary. As usual, I'll have the timestamp in the description for the people who don't want spoilers. So after I finish the non-spoiler summary, they can click on that timestamp and it'll take you to the thing in the video. Anyways, okay, let's get started. The Prophet, the Shepherd, and the Star is like a retelling of the events of the Old Testament prophet Isaiah all the way up through the birth of Jesus. So it kind of like, wraps up the prophecies about Jesus in the Old Testament and connects them all to Jesus' birth in the New Testament. The animals are entrusted with their most important mission yet, which is guarding the birth of the Savior of the world and ensuring that he'll be born safely. So yeah, of course, however, this is probably going to be the most monumental event in history, because you know what they say, you can't have Christmas without Easter, you can't have Easter without Christmas. So, anyways, maybe it's just me who says that, I don't know. Anyways. Of course, the enemy is going to want to stop this because, of course he doesn't want Jesus coming to save the entire human race. So he is putting the pedal to the metal. No, that's not right. He will stop at nothing to prevent the birth of the Messiah, which also includes trying to disprove prophecies about the Messiah as well. So, will the animals be up to the task? Though along with new difficulties, it also comes along with new help, which includes flying pigeons, talking squirrels, and humorous camels and donkeys. I know, sounds weird, but I mean, there's really not so much to spoil because you can just read it for yourself in the Bible, and that's what happened, and that's what's happening here. So I mean, in that way, it's not totally a retelling, because the retelling, changes some stuff. I mean, I guess this does change some things, of course you don't know exactly what happened, but this is, true to the Bible story, chronologically, theologically. Yeah. Anyway, so, and I guess there's really not much to spoil. Yeah, so non-spoiler people, you can just go and, click on the timestamp in the description. But you already know what happens, so it's not really so much of a spoiler thing that I'll be telling you. So anyways, yeah. Spoiler people, hello. What can I say? I mean, the animals protected the birth of Jesus. He was born. Yeah. So, I mean, okay, don't get it that it's, super boring and that it just, tells the Bible story. That's not it at all. But of course, there are, new things happening in the animal side of things, too. For example, they do stuff help give Isaiah little writing reminders, so he writes about certain stuff. Oh, need I mention, they also met another little character called Clary. She's a little lamb after her mom died because Charlton's minions killed her. Sad story. Anyways, so her mom died. Max and Kate kind of took her under their wing, even though they're dogs and she's a sheep. But yeah, so Clary played an important role in helping Mary and Joseph escape their city because, when Herod ordered all the babies 2 and under killed, they had to flee and go to Egypt, as you probably know. So Clary helped by kind of deterring the soldier who would have killed Jesus, and so she gave Mary and Joseph and Jesus time to escape. But that soldier was also good and decided not to kill Jesus because he knew Mary and Joseph. The soldier's name was Marcus Antonius. So that little tidbit of information, the centurion's name was is going to be important for the books to come. But yeah, anyways, but so when Marcus Antonius leaves the house, Lucifer in his lion shape comes in, and obviously he's not happy because, well, Jesus got away, and Jesus is like his mortal enemy. So he kills Clary herself. Sad ending, sad story. But it's not so sad because after all, when the animals finish their mission and Mary and Joseph have escaped, Gillamon meets them, and he says they're going to be given a new name, the Epic Order of the Seven. You could probably guess why they're called that. But there are only 6 of them. Count Gillamon, Max, Kate, Liz, Al, Nigel. Who's the 7th one? Spoiler, it's Clary. Anyways, yeah. So that's what happens. Well, she doesn't really show up in a form like Gillamon in this book, but in the next book she does. Anyways, yeah, so they're also introduced to this thing called the Ionosphere, which apparently, like, God made for them, so they could travel across time in history and, like, go wherever they needed to go. And yeah, so, cool ending. Worldviews. Hello, non-spoiler people. So glad you're back. Jenny Elcoat is a Christian author, as you probably have heard. I mean, like, you really can't, like, write this stuff and not have some kind of faith in, like, what actually happened, right? I mean, like, sure, this is, like, historical fiction, and I say historical because, yes, it actually happened. It's not some kind of, like, fairy tale. The Bible is not a fairy tale. It's real. Anyways, that was a neat. So, like I said, Jenny Elcoat is a Christian author. I found nothing theologically incorrect or chronologically wrong. All of the events lined up pretty seamlessly. Of course, you know, she takes artistic license in making the animals influence certain things. And, you know, of course, nobody knows exactly what the character said at so-and-so points. But yeah. And it was also super interesting to see the way she tied in the Old Testament prophets into the birth of Jesus, but it really gave me a sense of, like, the bigger picture, you know, that, like, there's tons of other stuff that happened to influence the nativity before Jesus was actually born. Like, you know, for example, like you know, the prophet Micah prophesied that Jesus would be born in Bethlehem, and lo and behold, Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Just see the bigger picture in general. And yeah, okay. Worldviews. We're going to foul language next. There was, like, pretty much none. There was a general in the, like, some of the Old Testament scenes, though. His name was General Rabshakeh, and he served in, like, the army of King Sennacherib. If you don't know who that is, go read your Bible. Anyways, so he was, like, saying some insulting stuff to the Israelites, but I mean, minor insults. Yeah, that's it. So, okay, moving on to violence. There wasn't a lot, well, let me rephrase that. There wasn't a lot of detail, because, you know, if you have read past the actual birth of Jesus, you'll recall the slaughter of the innocents. If you just think about it, that in itself is, like, really bloody, but there wasn't any, like, specific detail, and I think Coate handled that pretty well. So it was, like, super descriptive. There were, like, some scenes where the soldiers were, like, saying to themselves, they're like, oh, they couldn't think of what they've done. Others, they'd feel, like, super guilty, blah blah blah. They heard, like, the mom of the kid screaming in the house, blah blah blah. Yeah, it was really quite disturbing. But, yeah, I think she put, like, enough detail into it so that you would, like, know how bad it is, but then, like, not so much that you're, like, grossed out by all the description. Of course, there was, like, some classic army sieges, battle scenes in the beginning. That's it. Okay, so, moving on to romance. There's, like, little to zero here. The only thing I could find, possibly, is King Sennacherib the guy I mentioned earlier, he had multiple wives. So there was, you know, the whole fiasco when Mary had to tell Joseph that she was pregnant, and Joseph thought she was making up a story or something, but that was like before he had the dream. And again, I think it handled that pretty well. There wasn't like, I don't know, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff involved. I don't know, guys. Okay. Yeah, so, but just let it be known that it's very minor, not inappropriate. Okay, moving on. Let's go to alcohol. There are some mentions of like people drinking wine, because, you know, that's what you did. Jesus drank wine, though that wasn't like till later in the series. But, you know, they drink wine. Moving on to my rating and recommended age level. So I'm gonna rate this one 4.5 stars. And the reason why I'm not putting it at 5 stars is because, like, well, yes, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It just wasn't my favorite, and I feel like that my favorite should be rated 5 stars. And that this, he was like this close from hitting my 5-star mark. Okay, anyways, yeah. So for my recommended age level, I'm gonna say 10 to 11 plus again. And while I think the content like is actually suitable for a 9-year-old, I just think that maybe 10-year-olds will be better in terms of like slogging through the thickness of this book. People like me don't really consider this thick. We call it medium-sized. But to 10-year-olds or 9-year-olds, how it looks very, 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 very thick. Maybe even to some adults. There is a lot to take in here, and I think that just so you can make sure your child like gets the bigger picture, so to speak, they should probably have some kind of like understanding and like pre-knowledge, I guess, of all the stuff. But yeah, the content is certainly suitable for 9-year-olds. It's really funny and entertaining and whimsical, and yeah, but most importantly, it conveys the gospel in a great way, in a clear way. Anyways, yeah, so I highly recommend this, and guys, it's not just for like 10 and 11-year-olds, okay? I'm 13. I read this. I like it. It also makes for like a great read aloud book too, because it's entertaining enough that kids will like listening to it, but it's not like, and it also has like just enough history and other fun tidbits of stuff to also like kind of learn something while you're listening to this. Anyways, yeah, so that's it for my review, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, I'm sorry for not uploading last week. You probably are all super mad at me, but I'm sorry. So thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Liz decided it would be easier to awaken Al than to have him wake up on his own. She walked over and waved the bread over Al's nose. "Rise and shine, mon cher. Breakfast is ready." Al grinned with his eyes closed, his nose sniffing and following the delicious smell of bread. He suddenly woke with a start and sat straight up, looked at the bread, and took a big bite. Tears of joy flowed from his eyes. "Dreams can come true! Dreams can come true!" "Bonjour, Albert," Liz greeted her ravenous husband. Al nodded his return greeting as they chewed a big bite of the delicious bread. "I was chasing a loaf of bread that somehow grew legs and tried to run away from me. I thought I'd never eat again."
"That's not true, because once I had a dream about food and it didn't come true." Oh, the shame, oh, the sorrow. But you know, I still had dinner 2 hours later.